Hey everyone, this is going to be a good conversation about copper. Welcome back to the fall showcase here with RedCloud. We're talking with CEO Barry O'Shea with Highland Copper. This is an interesting story. This is like that, one that's going to stand out because this is an exploration. And I don't want to steal Barry's thunder, but let's just talk to you about copper and about what's going on here in Michigan with your two projects. How are you, Barry? How are you going?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Andrew.
So tell me about Highland Copper. I hadn't heard about this. I hadn't heard all that much about mining in Michigan, but you guys not only have a ton of support on all levels, but you've got a project that, when I say near term, it's really near term.
Yeah, this truly is one of the most advanced copper projects, certainly in the US and arguably worldwide. And I'd say there's three key things you want to know about our project. Number one, it is the only fully permitted project in the US held by a junior. And number two, significant leverage to changes in copper price. And we can talk about it in more detail, but a real distinguishing feature with the state of Michigan that's considering giving us a $50 million grant for the project.
That's huge. I mean, there's not a lot of mines that have been built out in the US, but to have the support, like the permitting and the support, that goes such a long way. Most times in exploration companies, it's kind of talked about, but you're really focused on, let's just find something. You guys have something, but you have all of the support as well. How near term are we talking if you guys really had an open runway to just go, let's go?
Listen, there's been 15 to 20 years of work done on this project. The geology is behind us. The resources are defined for both projects, multi-billion pound resources. Permitting at Copperwood is complete. We completed a feasibility study with G Mining last year, specific to the Copperwood project. That tells you that we're ready to make a construction decision. And so we're preparing ourselves for that now. We're doing early site work as needed to maintain our permits in good standing, and thinking towards detailed engineering to support a project financing. So this is, as I say, a project that is 15 years in the making. When you think about other projects that are at initial discovery, the timeline needed to take advantage of this copper cycle, we are truly well placed from a time perspective.
This is that you get to play copper at a time whenever copper is reemerging again. Like it kind of went up for a bit, then it pulled back because people thought, oh, China is slowing down. It's not slowing down. People are piling back into copper. And there's the obvious recognition of the electric future. So this places the US in a strong place to have a 1.4% grade copper. That's great grade.
That's right.
With a lot of support from local, federal government. You can't really ask for too much better than that. Good, strong support too from hedge funds and
indeed.
Insiders. Tell us a little bit about the relationships you have there.
Yeah, no, I will. But first I'll go back to Copperwood. You're right.
Yeah.
This is a project that is ready to move. And when you're at the outset of a copper cycle, you need to think about projects that truly can be built, truly can take advantage of valuation changes as you think about cash flow multiples relative to more early stage price to net asset value companies. This project is ready to go. And you also need to think about the capital structure of the company. Modest options outstanding, no warrants, $18 million in net capital. So you need to have a strong structure in place. You need to have long-term support of shareholders. Orion Mine Finance is at the top of our list, owning 28% of our company. So really all the fundamental building blocks in place, specifically with permits in hand to take advantage of the cycle. And as I think about investors who are looking to play copper now, you have a small kind of free option here where the copper cycle is beginning to take hold. Naturally, you're starting to see some money go into the larger base metal producers. You're seeing valuations change there. But you're having an early look at some of the developers and explorers where the equity valuations haven't quite moved yet. If you're a believer in the copper cycle, particularly in copper moving to $5 or beyond, you need to look at Copperwood at the leverage. And I'll give you a sense of that. At $4 copper, our net present value is $170 million and 18% IR, very respectable. But at $5 copper price, so a 25% increase in copper, it's a threefold increase in net present value to $507 million, just true leverage to this investment.
That's fantastic, and once again, it's this near-term production. You're not going to hear another story. I get so used to often, even if you hear like a good assay result, you could be 8, 9, 10 years off. This is the only story I know where you're literally ready to take advantage of that second part of the Lassonde curve. Like it's not the exploration curve
absolutely.
Where people are driven, they get excited. This is the other part where someone who's serious and goes, I want to be in the business of mining. what do I have out there that's going to be developed soon? This could be your story.
Yeah, no, this is ready to be built, and you'll see that we're building a company that is capable of building this project. As I've mentioned, we've raised capital to do our early site work. That's the early site clearings and the environmental impacts that we're required to do from a permit perspective. Very recently, we've hired a very strong project director as we step toward detailed engineering and thinking about financing and construction of the project. It is important to have the capacity to build, and I'd acknowledge as well, Copperwood particularly, it's of a modest size, certainly relative to the multi-billion-dollar large porphyries around the world. This is a project that we can be built, that we can build. Naturally, I think it's also going to be of interest to corporates as we advance Copperwood into production. Certainly, as we think about our second project, the joint ventured White Pine, there's this critical mass in the region that is of great value to develop to producers. So, while we will be ready to build the project, certainly corporate transactions will be reviewed and available to us.
And also, like you mentioned, like a porphyry system, people sometimes jump think, oh, I want a big, large porphyry system. Go, well, hope you have a massive, huge wallet as well, because that can be exciting, but also it's going to take a long time to develop. It's a lot of holes, a lot of drilling, which is fine if you have that runway for long periods of time. But if you want near-term copper supply, which I think the West wants, how many projects do we have that could come on board like very quickly?
To be quite honest, the list might just be us. So yeah, listen, we're looking forward to taking this next step, and maybe I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the second project. It's our White Pine project. It's a bigger project again. It's 5.4 billion pounds of copper, a 22-year mine life again on a PEA study done by G Mining in 2023. We joint ventured that project with Kinterra Private Equity. They're a very motivated operator. They're stepping that project into environmental baseline and preparing for permitting in 2025. They're in their second drill program in the year that they've owned it, looking to do a resource update in 2025. So it's a project that's wonderfully sequenced and being capitalized by our partner while we're focusing on Copperwood.
Yes, and I also like to ask you this earlier. Sometimes there's project generators, there's people that say, hey, we just want to sell this project at some point. You guys have a lot of options because you can develop it if you feel like it. If you want, hey, we'll build out, we'll have a mine. If not, we can sell it off to someone else as well. That gives a lot of optionality, not only to management, but to investor thinking too. Like, you don't have to sell. Like, you guys can choose to develop this.
We absolutely don't have to sell. This is a great project, poised to be built, certainly as copper is moving towards 450 and beyond. We have a team that can build. Naturally, we'll keep our eye on corporate activity as well. But from my perspective, you have to be ready to build your own project, and this is a project that can be built.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Barry. We're going to keep an eye on this because this is a very interesting project. Near term, that's what excites us over here. Thanks so much for spending the time with us. Enjoy the rest of the week here.
Thank you, Andrew.